Cheers, beautiful people. Welcome back to Aged in Oak. So, like a lot of other content creators, I'm not just on YouTube. I also have a little stuff that I do on TikTok. And about a week or two back, I put a post on TikTok asking people. The wording on the post was this: what whiskey that you used to love has just started letting you down? And I mean, I didn't get a lot of responses, but I got enough responses that I thought I would throw out this video real quick, talk about the answers they give, and kind of give you my take on the ones that they chose. So I started this post off with a whiskey that I feel has started letting me down, and I'm going to save it for last because I think I might get a little bit of conversation about this one, because I don't think there's a lot of people that agree with me on this. Some people will, some people won't. But for the most part, I think that the ones that I'll talk about here, you'll probably understand. And feel free to throw out your comments as to, how you feel in regards to what these people have said, how you feel in regards to what I say about them. But having said that, let's start with the first one that I got. So this one comes from somebody, and they said, as my palate develops, I don't really enjoy the taste of regular Jim Beam anymore. And I think I'm going to have to kind of agree with that. If you've watched me very long, you know that I love the Jim Beam profile. I like Little Book, and I like the Bookers, and I like the Knob Creek. But when it comes to the Jim Beam White Label, it just doesn't, to me, deliver like it used to. Now, a lot of that's probably because I've gotten into a lot of different whiskeys, and all of these whiskeys kind of offer a different experience, and Jim Beam White Label being all the way down at 80 proof. And I'm not saying that the low proof stuff isn't good. I'm saying that there's been so many things that I've drank. I think my palate has changed. I don't know if it's necessarily matured, but it's changed. And I don't feel that Jim Beam, to my palate, is really what I'm looking for anymore. So I'm probably, when it comes to the Jim Beam White Label, I mean, I'm going to keep a bottle around for the channel. I'm going to keep a bottle around to, every now and then I like a simple mixer, and Jim Beam with Coke or Pepsi is really, really good. But by itself, it just doesn't do it for me anymore. We'll kind of stay on the palate, on the flavor aspect for now. There are things that go into price, and we'll get to that. The next one says, all it said was, Heaven Hill, not sure if my palate changed. Now, I don't know if they're calling out Heaven Hill as a whole, if they're calling out like Evan Williams, if they're calling out the Heaven Hill label like Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond, or McKenna, or Elijah Craig. So they weren't really specific. I will say that on the whole, I kind of like most things from Heaven Hill. Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond 7-year, I really like. Evan Williams, I mean, even at the low proof point that Evan Williams is at, it still has good flavor. And although that's not going to be one of the first things that I'm going to replace when I run out of it, I'm definitely going to keep a bottle around, because every now and then you just want a pour that you don't really have to think about. And Evan Williams is a good pour to just toss back, if you're, whatever you're doing. If you're out grilling, or if you're just sitting there watching TV and you just want something to sip on. Okay, the third one, this one says, drank Crown Royal for years and lately can't stand the taste anymore. Well, I am going to completely agree with that. As I've said in other videos, I'm not going to call it bad whiskey because I know there are people that like it, but I'm not one of them. On the whole, I do not like the flavor of Crown Royal. And almost all of their flavored ones, whether it's the peach or the blackberry or the salted caramel, or even the chocolate, by themselves as a sipper, I just don't care for it. There's something about the flavor of Crown Royal that just does not sit well on my palate. I know there are a lot of people out there that love it. I'm just not one of them. Okay, the next one says, and this one might be a little divisive because I know there's still a lot of people out there that just love this. And this person said Jack Daniels. It's the old number 7 they're talking about. They said they drank it and actually, and I found this quite amusing. Said I drank it and actually put it on as cologne back in the day. I don't think I would probably ever do that, but hey, to each their own, right? And then they said, now don't care for it one bit. Jack Daniels is the first bourbon that I ever had, and don't come at me in the comments saying that Jack Daniels isn't bourbon. We've had this discussion before. It's apples and oranges. You can call it bourbon. You can call it Tennessee whiskey. You can call it whatever you want. I just call it bourbon. Jack Daniels was the first one that I ever drank, and this was back in the 90s. And back then, I found it utterly disgusting. But my palate was really, really young at the time. But later on down the line, when I got into whiskey, I thought, why not give it a try? I still stayed away for quite a while because I remember how I didn't care for it then. Then, a couple weeks ago, in preparation for a video that I want to do, I picked up a little 375, a little plastic 375, and I took a drink of it, and I didn't dislike it like I did then, but it just didn't do much for me. So I would say that in regards to this person's comment, yeah, I'm not a big Jack Daniels number 7 fan. Now, when it comes to this stuff back here, when you get into this shape bottle, oh my goodness, that stuff is amazing. And if I lean over a little bit here, the Jack 12 there behind me, that is in a league of its own. The age stated stuff from Jack Daniels is just kicking some serious butt. All right, next, and there's a lot going on with this one right now because of the changes that it's seen over the course of the years, and that's Early Times Bottled in Bond. Back in the day, it was a Brown-Forman product. It had the, I think I'm going to get this wrong. I think it had the black plastic cap. Then over the years, eventually it got bought by Sazerac, and that transition happened, and it got really hard to find. I mean, really hard to find. I looked for it everywhere, couldn't find it. Finally got some of it, a liter bottle. I've got it back here somewhere. And I really like it. Now we're finding out that they're putting out this new batch. They're sizing down to, I think it's sized down to a 750. And I'm hearing a lot of people just say it isn't good. I want to get some. I want to try it. I want to see for myself. But so I really can't weigh in on the Early Times Bottled in Bond because I haven't had any of the old Brown-Forman stuff. The only thing that I've had is the blue metal cap from Sazerac, and I haven't had the new batch to see how that's changed. All right, now we're going to kind of switch to a price standpoint gripe on whiskey. This person said, depending on where you are, Buffalo Trace just isn't worth it with $35 bottles being allocated. And when you come from the standpoint of the Buffalo Trace products, I get their point. There are allocated bottles like the Wellers, and of the Wellers that I've had the Special Reserve, I've had the Antique 107, I've had the Single Barrel, I've had the 12-year, and at MSRP they're good priced. But if you don't live in a control state, or specifically in Ohio or Texas, good luck finding almost any of those. So when you do find them in these other states, the prices are all jacked up. In Ohio, an Antique 107 is $60. And I specifically called out Antique 107 because of all the Wellers. That was my favorite. The Single Barrel is right up there too, but you're going to deal with the same thing with single barrels that you do with any single barrel. One's going to be great, the next one's going to be not so great. It's going to go back and forth. You're going to play the whole single barrel roulette. But for a consistently good Weller, Antique 107. The problem being, if you're not in a control state or in Ohio, with the state minimum, the price on a Antique 107 is going to be anywhere from $100 to $250. As much as I like Antique 107, I won't pay that price for it. And if I've got to say goodbye to it because of the fact that the price is so high, I'll do it, because there's a lot of good whiskeys that I can get out for that same $60 price that are just kick butt. Other things like, Elmer T. Lee. Elmer T. Lee, to me, is a good whiskey. Is it a great whiskey? Not to me. The price point that it pulls, to me, is kind of ridiculous. At its MSRP, I mean, it's okay at its MSRP, but I believe I paid $51 for a 1 ounce pour at a winery over by Sandusky, Ohio. And if I'm going to pay $51 for 1 ounce pour, it better blow my socks off. It didn't. So when it comes to his talk about Buffalo Trace is kind of letting him down in a price standpoint, yeah, I understand that. There are some that deliver. But on the whole inflated price thing of most of Buffalo Trace's stuff isn't justified by its quality. Now, the BTAC, yeah, I mean, the BTAC's just plain good. I really like the the Stag. I've got 2 of the Stags. I love them both. Eagle Rare, that's a consistently good pour. The price is starting to get realistic on that one now. MSRP on that is like $42, and it's a good $42 whiskey. I'd pay up $60, $65 for it. By the way, I do have something here, and this is going to be kind of a take on, or not a take, in reference to one of these comments. And this person said that they weren't crazy about Maker's Mark, and that it was so overpriced. Now, again, are we talking about Maker's Mark as a whole? Are we talking about just like the regular Maker's Mark, to where their price wasn't crazy, and they didn't care for the flavor? So that the statement was kind of vague, but I'll touch on a few of these things. Regular Maker's Mark, I'm not a fan. Now, what's in this glass is the Maker's Mark 46. It's not the cast strength. It's just the 46. And this one, I really kind of like. And when it comes to a price point, I think it's got a really good price point. And like I said, it's really good. And it's been sitting here long enough. I'm gonna have a sip real quick. Yeah, I'm just a sucker for French oak. I mean, I just love what French oak does to a whiskey. As far as, is it makers in general or specific bottles? The only makers that I really don't care for is the regular one. I've got a cellar aged up here. I've got the down here. I think is the keeper's release. I really like those. And honestly, I paid MSRP for the keeper's release down there, and I didn't think it was all that bad. I mean, when you're talking about a yearly special release, I think I paid $75 for that, and for a special release, a yearly special release, I don't think 75 is bad. Now, I came by I won actually the cellar age there, and that's really really good. I can't really speak to the price point on that. I don't really know what it is, and I didn't really pay that for it, so I'm not really going to comment because I mean I'm not going to have a valid gripe against the price of that. We're at the end of this, and I'm going to talk about the one that has let me down. We've already mentioned it, but we talked about price points on it. And I know that a lot of people here aren't going to agree with me, but one of the first bottles that I really enjoyed when I started my journey was good old regular Buffalo Trace. I think over the course of the time of collecting these and trying them and seeing all the different things that are out there, it just doesn't knock my socks off anymore. It's just okay whiskey to me. Now, this isn't about a price or a proof thing, because I got a couple here that I've got down on my sheet here that fall right about in the same price range, you know, a little bit either way, and in the same proof range that I think really, really deliver. And those are, I'll just list them, I'll just read them right off of here. Elijah Craig Small Batch. It's coming in about the same price, about a $5 difference, kind of with the Buffalo Trace and the Elijah Craig Small Batch. Elijah Craig Small Batch, I think, still just brings the flavor, and it hasn't dropped off to me as far as, you know, where it was and where it is now. So I think it's just my palate moving away from at least that part of the Buffalo Trace profile, and it could be the age on the Buffalo Trace. It could be the mash bill. I'm not really sure. It's changed for me. Other things that are down there that I think are really good at the proof area and the price area. Old Forester, their signature 100 proof. Now I realize the Buffalo Trace is 90, and Old Forester signature is 100, but I mean, Old Forester just always delivers in my book. So let's stick with the same distillery, and this is probably going to blow your minds, but I think that, and I'm talking half the price, same distillery. Now, I'm not going to say across the board because I don't care for them all across the board, but the single barrel and the full proof from Benchmark, those are good. Now I realize you deal with the same thing with the single barrel roulette with the Benchmark single barrel, but the first one that I got is just it was so good, and I believe the single barrel was 21 or 22 where I got it, and the full proof is less than that, and I mean, no, that's not anywhere near the proof point, but the price point on that just goes to show you that you don't have to have expensive alcohol for it to be really, really good. And my dad swears by Benchmark Full Proof, and I can't dispute that. And lastly, well, not lastly, next in there is regular Woodford Reserve. That is a really solid bottle. I haven't noticed my palate moving away from it. But I will say that, and it's a different, these are different flavor profiles. So, maybe this isn't a fair comparison to Buffalo Trace. I don't know. And another one that I just think is phenomenal, that's right down close to that price point, is another Brown-Forman. And I got scared because there was a rumor not too long ago that it was going away, and I found out that that was wrong. And I'm so glad, because I would truly miss Cooper's Craft from Brown-Forman. That bottle is so good. I would really miss that if it went away. I've got a bottle. It's not on these shelves. It's in another set of shelves that I've got, and that's just so good. Okay, well, we've touched on a few of these. These are the ones that came to me in the responses. Let me know what you think. Tell me, do you agree with the takes of these people and with my takes on these different pours? Am I full of crap? Do you think, hey, this stuff is the greatest thing since sliced bread? That's cool. I love to hear different people's take, and I'll value your take as much as I would value mine or anybody else's. Because like I said, just because I don't care for them doesn't mean they're bad whiskey. Somebody likes them. So I am going to sit here and I'm going to finish this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Maker's Mark 46. And until we talk again, cheers.